You're listening to Our Space with Matt Batiste.
This show is for those of us that grew up listening to emo, pop punk, and hardcore. And some episodes, you're going to be taking a trip down memory lane. Others, you're going to make new memories with newer bands. And when I interviewed internet friends, I thought this is the newest band I'll ever interview because they only had 3 songs at the time with a 5-song EP coming out soon. But today we're talking to a band that at the moment only has 1 song out. And now this isn't the norm. But when I heard that 1 song, I was like, I got to talk to these guys because it just felt really original. It was a blend between genres that we rarely ever see. And I'm just really excited to hear more from them. So welcome to Hugh. We've got RJ, Nick, and Ali. How's it going, guys?
Grand.
All right. Yeah, man.
Good,
How we doing?
So I want to know what your story is. You know, how did you guys find each other? How did you come up with the band?
Ali, you can start first, man.
Yeah, I guess it all starts with Young Reza.
I got started off. All right, look. Because you started first.
Yeah, it was just tracing it back to you.
Hugh? It's like, nah. Basically, I guess it all started when I was in high school. We did some like kind of band swapping. Everyone was like trying to make bands. There was a lot of bands in our town, from go-go bands to people making rock bands. And then we started this kind of like super heavy, whatever the hell type of band where we were like mixing together all these deathcore, melodic death metal, post-hardcore type elements. And then people got crazy, got mad at each other, beefing, whatever, regular band story, people would jump ship. And then over time, I just collected like my alliance of superheroes. One of the first ones was Nick, one of the people who just he just was never going to quit music. And when you're in this type of situation, the people who don't ever quit music are the ones that you need in your corner, man, for life. You know, so and it was bound to happen. Then we formed a new type of band with the same name, even though we were trying to keep it alive, and it was my fault that we were trying to keep it alive. Our name was terrible. But
What was the name?
oh man, we gotta say it.
If you're going to say it's that terrible, I need to know what the name is.
Damn. All right. Should I say it, Nick? Go ahead.
I mean, look, it's just, you got the floor right now. I mean, people know about it. Like, it's not a secret.
Yeah, technically not. Okay, so we were a band called Louder Than Quiet. And
Okay.
yeah, the irony is that along with the bad name, the sound was really insane. And then we had a song with Johnny Craig. And that song kind of was our biggest thing back then. It was crazy. After that era was over, our drummer quit, started beefing people again, blah, 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 blah. And I rapped. My rap manager at the time was like, I know this drummer. His name's RJ, man. You should give him a shot. I was like, really? A drummer? You sure? And we've been rocking ever since. I have no idea how that just like was so easy to do. But yeah it kind of just fit together. And we've been playing together for a long time.
Yeah, at this point, we've been playing together for like some years.
Yeah.
Like pre-pandemic, like our kind of first foray, like as a thing with this, even like this configuration was, we played Afro Punk in Atlanta in 2019, and that was like, all right, we're gonna do it. Like we kind of switched up our lineup from the heavy band, like Ali was saying. At first, he was playing guitar and singing, I was playing bass and doing like back end vocals. There was we have another guitarist and drummer, screamer, whatever. That was our configuration at the time. And then Ali still played guitar that day. We had in the video the keyboard player was singing named Grim. He was actually playing bass at the time for that show. We saw the other guitar player, and I was just doing like screaming. And then we were just doing that as like the one-off. And RJ was there. That was my first show.
I think another large part that kind of like forced the sound to change in that particular period was I ruptured my Achilles on my left foot. So like coming in, like I wasn't really like big on like playing double bass, but like their songs were so double bass heavy. So I'm like, all right, I got to work on it. Then that summer I ruptured my Achilles on my left foot. So then it was like double bass is no longer an option.
Yeah.
But they still wanted to like, like it was like, all right, let's keep doing it. So
and
that was definitely like a thing.
Yeah, because like when we were there, we were like, all right, like it was pretty much just like a one-off kind of like situation at first. And then we came home from Atlanta, and somewhere along the way, we were just like, okay, so RJ's gonna stay. Like we're about to still be a band, I guess. And then we just like kept, we switched the lineup. Ali and I formally, because we talked about it for a couple of years about like, man, we're gonna switch one day. And then finally had Ali was like, I think I'm gonna just play bass.
Yeah,
And
because
then
okay, I definitely forgot something that I think I just remembered just now in this interview, which is like,
Mm.
yeah, we couldn't find a bass player, so I was like, man, we were trying out people and they just weren't able to make it. So I was like, I'm always here, I might as well do it. But I almost forgot. I think RJ rupturing his Achilles is why I think I wanted to do the go-go thing, because I was
it
like,
wasn't as
yo,
demanding from like a double kick kind of perspective.
yeah,
It forced
And
the
plus,
sound
like
to
the
change.
styles of heavy music that
Yeah.
RJ was kind of used to playing wasn't like, it was more like punk rock, like hard rock kind of based stuff,
Yeah.
and not so much like metalcore, double kick, gent
Yeah.
stuff.
And
So
then
kind
it
of
was like all the double kicky stuff. I was approaching it from more of like a gospel perspective with like the chops. So I was like kind of just 1 foot and then like floor
Yeah.
timing it, and it really forced the sound to change.
yeah, which is for the better, honestly.
Yeah, I love that. It gives it so much more depth into a song. You guys said that you've been playing for quite a few years now, only having one song out. Did you have other songs that maybe you recorded and wiped because of the change, or was it your first time getting into the studio? What's the deal with that?
Kind of. So this song actually started, like I said, in 2019 in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
so-
Where Ali messed around with it. We came home and we're like, because we're gonna stay a band, so we like, let's write new songs. So there was Home, there was like an R&B song.
Believe it or not, bro, no, we had Somber Rose. That was the main thing.
Yeah,
We first
at the time we had this darker R&B, darker post-hardcore kind of song, and that was like the leading. That was like our main campaign at the time. But this Home song was originally part of like a different EP of like kind of like a sampler of different songs, and this was pretty much the only one, or one of the only ones out of that lot that kind of translated into Hue.
Okay, so this is the one that defined the new direction that you were going into. So this is the one that you sort of wanted to use as a transition.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it defines like the new direction, because we have a lot of stuff coming to where like y'all are gonna be like, what? But this is definitely the closest into that like foray.
But he did say transition. This was because that was my whole thing about this song, was like, it wasn't supposed to be the best song on the planet. It was just supposed to be the weirdest song with mainstream appeal, so that we could like play more places. Because we were like, man, we sick and tired of getting picture held into these weird shows. We trying to play every show. Like, I'm trying to play like anything. If I could
What
play
weird shows were you getting pigeonholed into?
So I guess during the whole time after Afropunk, we went through the pandemic. We had to play this rap show once, and it was in like this house. And it's like, when you're a metal band playing the rap show, it's like, you're going to impress some people, but they really going to check you out after it's over. They really going to look you up. They gonna look your song. They going to freaking download it. Like, and we always were playing weird stuff like that. Like, Afropunk was like no longer Afropunk. It was like headlined by SZA and Miguel, and we
which
got
was
a lot of
cool. We
fans.
definitely stood in the crowd and
was
watched it,
tight.
and they were singing their asses off. But it would have been nice to have a little more heavy. So we were kind of like on that.
Well, not even that. I feel like the last Afropunk, the first two Afropunks we played without RJ, we were like super ridiculously heavy. We had a different lineup. Those people quit. And when we played the one with RJ, and he had the foot thing and everything was going on, we really were like, all right, let's be us. Let's be like a more rock version of us. And it was the best show we ever played. It was very interesting.
I remember some of those conversations coming out of there. Like even with like Dan involved in the conversations, and just like what are we about to do? Like what's about to be next?
Yeah, Dan was pretty stoked afterwards. He was like, man, we gotta keep doing it. We gotta stay together. And
that's funny because that's how he talks.
Yeah, literally. Shout out Dan.
What are the, like, I guess, main inspirations that I know you kind of almost did this out of necessity because of RJ's Achilles tear, but what were sort of the main other inspirations or artists that you're listening to that you're like, you know what, let's do go and mix it with metal?
So I'll go first because my perspective coming in, my background, I used to tour the band called Red Gold Green, and they were doing like alternative rock and go, and it got big for a second. So like I was just always kind of like selling that idea. It's like this shit will work. Like that was always my perspective. It was just like we can make it more rhythmic, we can make it more DC, we can make it more go, we can make it more black, and like this shit will work.
And then he met a wild Ollie somewhere, and then the rest is history. Because Ollie's kind of always had this. Like even we were in the metal band, many times we would be like in practice sessions or like trying to make up stuff, and whenever we'd be doing something, he'd be like, "Man, we could bounce it. We could just bounce this."
But you know, it's funny. Now I feel like I got formulaic with the idea of like, if we were gonna bounce it, it was gonna be something that that kind of felt more general. Because I didn't want to bounce anything that was like riffy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like that wouldn't have worked. Like the end of Sanity was perfect. You had a song called Sanity. It was like a hardcore song. You know, DC's known for like Bad Brains. I was like, yeah, you can throw it in there, you know. But at the same time, I feel like, to answer Matt's question, bro, I never heard anything that made me feel like this could work on record. I mean, we did it live. We've seen a lot of people try to do it, like where the bounce beat is in the rock. They'll even say that they did it first, which I've been doing that since 2010, but it's a long story. I just feel like the main thing is, when I knew that it would work on record is when I heard "Beautiful Oblivion" by Issues.
Okay.
That was kind of not a turning point for the band, but it was definitely a unifying thing. That it was like, because, you know, all of us would listen to such different stuff that there was, I guess, the more that we kind of reformed the band, it was like our directions personally were kind of in different places. So the overlap would be like, we really had to hone in on the overlap moments, and Beautiful Oblivion was a very like resounding, like, y'all, this is good. Because, you know, I was an Issues fan from day one. Me and Ali used to listen to What Was Me. So like, you know, when the whole Issue switch had happened and that album was getting anticipated, I was telling them and Graham, I was like, y'all, this next Issues, I don't know what's going to be, but it's going to be good. And I need y'all to be there for that. And then, you know.
To that same point, because like I was trying to like kind of pick y'all's brains a little bit, and like just getting to know y'all really, and like understanding what y'all were into. And I remember like everybody was kind of like, nah, you need to listen to Beautiful Oblivion. And like I remember the first full time I listened to it, I'm like, yo, like this is it. And like eventually, like it was on like my Apple Music wrap up. It was like in like my top like 3-5 albums like for the following years. It was just like, no,
I love when that happens with an artist that you just discovered, and then all of a sudden they end up being like one of your top artists for the year. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Bro, it was so ridiculous. Like, because my whole thing was, you know, we had a screamer and we were a 5-piece with the screamer. So when our screamer quit and our drummer quit back then, we did a 5-piece where we added a keyboardist and everybody just played an instrument and sang. And me and Nick and Dan, yeah, exactly. But we all played an instrument like while doing our vocals. So then me and Nick and Dan always talked about like, we're like, bro, we could just be like our city's Fall Out Boy, bro. We could just be like the Fall Out Boy from DC. Like we could just do it. It would just be so great. And we joked about it, but when I heard I heard Beautiful Oblivion, I was like, no, actually we could actually do it. Like we could actually do it. It could actually work because this is just as general. In my opinion, I feel like Beautiful Oblivion is very like mainstream-esque enough to show my mom, you know? Like my mom.
Yeah, your mom came to the show with us.
Yeah, my mom came to the Issue show and saw Beautiful Oblivion live.
It's amazing.
And we missed our only opportunity to see Sleep Token before they blew up.
No.
They gone now. That would have been cool to see.
What happened? So wait, so you missed Sleep Token was opening and you showed up late?
Yes.
Yep. We just saw Polyphia and Issues.
This is why I always tell everyone go and see that opening band, because you never know what crazy story you might be telling in a few years. You don't know who that next band is going to be. Like for me, seeing bands like My Chemical Romance open up back in the day for other bands, like even just seeing like The Used, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like I saw My Chemical Romance as an opening act, which is wild to like say looking back at things, right? So many bands that you discover by going to shows and seeing the opening band. So definitely, if you're listening, go see the opening band. But yeah, I definitely also understand. The only time I ever miss an opening band is when you get stuck at work and you're like, got to make it there, and you make it like an hour afterwards, so you miss like the first band. So it happened. It just sucks that it happened to be Sleep Token for you guys.
Yeah. And the crazy part was, we didn't understand how rare of a show that was. Okay, so there was a song where Issues, they do the Brownstone, you say it. What is that?
If you love me, say it.
Yes, they did the Brownstone like kind of hook and like the lead up, like the pre-chorus in their song, and the crowd didn't know it, and we were like the only people like singing it loud as hell in the back. And we took pride in that, like, oh yeah, we know about this. Like this is like my mom listens to this song. Yeah. But I don't think the crowd even knew that was their last time they were gonna see Issues.
Oh no.
Like, Tyler Carter, he
That was
messed
their
up
last
right
tour
after
before
that.
everything had switched up for them.
That was a wrap. So they if they didn't take advantage, and that was it.
That's it. That's all. See, this is why you also go out to those shows as well. You also briefly touched on the fact that, you're from the DC area. You brought up, Bad Brains. How much has like your local scene impacted you guys as a band?
I mean, listen, our local scene is so insane. Basically just a small amount of names that are huge right now that are in our local scene are Turnstile, Periphery, Animals as Leaders, Bad Brains. Shoot, you can go back to the 90s, Good Clean Fun, Damnation AD.
So a lot of big names in there.
All the go-go bands, Reaction, T.O.B., TCB, CCB, Mambo Sauce,
Backyard,
Red Gold Green, Chuck Brown,
Black Alley.
Then you got the singers, Marvin Gaye, who else is from here? Christina Milian's from here. Maya's
Genuine.
from here.
Does it ever feel intimidating being a part of the same city or same scene? Like almost like there's like a higher standard for you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like, especially like with like, if we're talking like go-go and how it influences like soul in general here. I think it just like, it kind of just puts the battery in everybody's back, where it's like, it's just the language of where we're from. Like we're from a musical city, even though it's like, it's changing, and like the current face of it, if you're looking at it through like gentrification goggles, like you wouldn't necessarily know all the way. But like, if you know, it's like, we live in a musical place, and it's a welcoming musical place. Like,
it sounds like it's almost like a badge of honor as well to like be from there and be a part of that scene.
Yeah, definitely. Like I always say too, like, because like you look at like a lot of like kids, like a lot of like little, like a lot of kids end up being like rappers, right? Because it's just so easy to get into. But like DC is one of those cities where like these young kids that would otherwise go on to be like rappers or just like try to sing, like they're encouraged to play instruments too. Like it's cool to be like in a band. Like it's cool to be in a go-go band. Like if you're in a go-go band, you're a local celebrity.
Yeah, that's amazing that it's like it's at that level, and it's kind of cool. You guys are mixing go-go with Bless. Like that's crazy. Yeah. It's not something that you really hear every single day. You've got that bop, like you said. I feel like that transitions you and opens things up so you can take so many different, I guess, creative pathways with your music, especially after hearing Home. Like there's so many different directions that I can see your band going in, which is why I wanted to talk to you as well. You have an EP coming out, which as far as I know, that's sort of briefly kind of been like press releases and whatnot. Do we have a date for that yet? Do we have any more details on that?
No date. When do you want it? When do you want it?
I want it yesterday. I'll hear it now. Just link me the raw files if they're ready.
I'll say this: there are some raw files, and we've actually been listening to them more recently, and them shits go so hard. God, it's so good.
Where does the creative direction go with this one? Are you going more heavier? Is it more go-go? Is it a good blend between the two? Like, what's the deal with it?
So I'll use an analogy that I used recently, and I'm sure everybody else can chime in, but it's like, it's not spaghetti 5 ways. Like, it's a bunch of different dishes, but you know it's coming from the same restaurant. So it's like,
yes,
we showed you what we're capable of with home, but then like we're taking that same vibe and feel and then just like slapping you in the face with it in different ways. But you're going to know it's all us.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm trying to think of like a restaurant that would be like that, but I'm also from Canada, so I don't know what restaurants be different. I'm like thinking of like a Jack Astor's. I don't know if you have a Jack Astor's there, but
Jack Astor's, Jack Astor's in Toronto over the summer.
I'm from Toronto, so it's like I'm thinking of Jack Astor's. You know, you can go and get like, you can get nachos, you can get a burger, but you can get like a pad thai bowl, and like the pad thai's good there. Like you can get different things from the same place, you know?
I went to the one by the Rogers Center.
Oh, okay.
I went to go see Beyonce there this summer, and I was at the Jack Astor's.
Oh, amazing. Right down there was Young and Dundas, our little like
It was a good vibe. Everybody in there was cool as hell. And the Blue Jays were like playing away, so like everybody was watching on the screen.
Oh, okay.
It was tight. I enjoyed it. I thought they were good people.
That's amazing.
So like to that restaurant, right? Because I guess an American equivalent would be like TGI Fridays.
Okay.
Right? But they have different menu items, but you know, like you're eating at Fridays, you know, this is their food. Like,
yeah. So you're going to have some heavier songs, some lighter songs, but at the end of the day, they're all going to have that signature Hugh sound.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially,
If you had to like put into words what Hugh's signature sound is, how would you do that?
See, I always felt like if I'm talking from the sense of the EP, I would say we're definitely like the most, I guess, the most unapologetically hood soul thing that the scene has ever seen.
I was gonna say unapologetically black aggressive soul.
Yeah, like very much so. Yeah. Because it's like we have grooves that are like simple grooves, and then we have go-go grooves, and then we have, the gentle grooves. But the main thing overall is that no matter what, it's the little taste of soulfulness across all of it.
And that's something
I think the
like,
word groove is like essential to what we're doing. Like everything grooves, no matter how hard or soft it is. Like you're just gonna find yourself kind of you can't stop. So yeah,
it sounds like it's going to be very boppy, but mixed with heavy.
Yeah, but to that point, like everything isn't swung. Like some of it's a little straight too, though, but it still grooves. So.
I'm really curious to hear this. Do you have any tour plans for this EP or any shows coming up?
We actually just kind of talked about some of that. We can't announce it quite yet, but everybody's But beyond that, when the announcement comes, we're going to be very excited to share with you all. I think everybody's going to be very excited for us. It's going to be a very, very, very great bill. Like the bands involved it's going to be a great ticket. You're going to want to come.
I'm really excited because I did see on Twitter you say that you got a festival invite and a tour invite, and I want to hear some of those details, but I guess we can't spill them just yet.
Nah, it's big. Yeah, it's this year and it's big.
but you know what's crazy? Today, I was on Instagram because I'm normally the guy on Twitter, and Nick's normally the guy on Instagram, like, right? So today I got on Instagram and I was like, I hit up one of our newer friends who's like on some legendary, I have a lineage, I'm in this huge band, I've been in huge bands this whole time type stuff. And I hit him up and I was like, hey bro, your big band's about to do a humongous tour this year. Like, you think we can open for you, man? And I just did it because I was just like, I gotta ask. I mean, you're one of my favorite bands. And then he was like, I mean, bro, we filled the ball, but 2025 though, you know, I got you. And I was like, really? And it was one of those times where it was like, if he is not BSing and he has showed his whole band our music video, then I have already like a part of my like childhood 16-year-old heart has already been filled. I've already achieved a check mark because
All
yeah,
right,
it's
now
one
I'm
of
even
those.
more curious as to who this is.
And I'll just say this: there's been some big names that I'm like, how the hell are you in our DMs?
We
Yeah.
talk. How big are we talking? Are we talking like turnstile big, or are we talking, you
Bigger.
know?
But you wait. But you know what? I'm gonna say this. Shout out to Daniel.
Bigger.
Like Daniel is my man. Daniel from Turnstile is the fucking man. Fuck yeah. Shout out to Daniel.
We're talking about like people that transcended their bands and became like Hollywood celebrities.
Yeah, people like they might not even be in heavy music any like they're in different
Yeah.
genres. We
They're
know
just celebrities now.
there's a guy in our DMs. Okay, like here's one of the name drops. There's a guy in our DMs that he just met Alicia Keys. He just did something with Alicia Keys. And I was
Okay.
like, okay, this is getting crazy.
There's a guy in our DMs that's married to a former reality TV star.
Then there's yeah.
All this speaking of DMs, I guess my next question is username and password, please.
In the name of the street you grew up on.
Yeah. Can I get your mother's maiden name, please? Your first dog's name.
That joint is definitely champagne, not poppy. The password is Shawty Hugh the best.
Yeah.
Shawty Hugh the best.
I know you guys mentioned a bunch of other things that you have planned for 2024 that you can't mention. Is there anything that you can mention that's really exciting that you have planned for this year?
Let me see.
The faces.
What actually? Yeah.
What are we allowed? Call my manager.
There isn't EP. It's just like, yeah, it's just basically waiting for mastering at this rate. And
Oh yeah. Also, we can tell you that like we have a collection of people that helped us make the EP.
Who are those? Let's give them a shout out.
So, for one, I don't know if I should say the feature guy on one of the songs, but I would definitely say one of my homies, Manny. He's a producer. He was at ABM with Shooters. He helped us write. He helped us get a couple like blueprints for the songs that were like more our speed, or like our Go-Go's Town thing, right? And then we had like Sky from Issues come in, and he helped us like kind of understand where that Beautiful Oblivion thing, like how that came to be.
Which is crazy because that's been such a pivotal part of your band, and it's been so important for your band. So to be working with him is incredible.
Sky is like an amazing educator. Like,
yeah,
beyond teacher, beyond just like, oh, I'll play the bass line and then you recreate it. Like, he was truly like enlightening. Like, this is my process, and this is how it can work for you.
Yeah, it was pretty great working with Sky in general, just because of like how he thinks about things is completely different from us. And I just like the whole bounce off of ideas, but also I like he doesn't believe in things being not like if it's some secret sauce in a song that you like, it's like there's a reason why you fuck with that song so hard. And he's like, okay, dive into that one. Why do you like it? And it's like that type of writing, it makes you love your own song more, because it's like you start to understand more about yourself. Like,
He helps you double down on the things that work and get rid of the things that don't. It's awesome that you have someone there helping you with that. And then towards the end of every single show, what I like to do, because this is a show that, I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, sometimes we take a trip down memory lane. A big portion of my audience are millennials that grew up in the emo and hardcore and all these different types of genres. So, sometimes we've gone down memory lane, but a big part of it is finding new bands for these millennials to engage with and like and give out these new music recommendations. So a big part of the show is also showing love to other bands like yourselves that are working so hard to make a name for themselves. Do you have any up and coming bands that you want to shout out right now?
Oh, fuck yeah. Nightlife, bro. Shout out Nightlife, man. Also, this is a random one because it's not a band, but I got to shout it out. I was going to say another person who helped us work on the EP was Chris Crummett, because Chris Crummett makes home. And that's kind of like, Dance Gavin Dance, a huge inspiration. So just saying, the Dance Gavin Dance League thing collab with us is awesome. But shout out ABM. Shout out Raleigh V. Shout out Red Go Green. And
I got another one because people were trying to like pit it like some beef on Instagram. Shout out Breezy Supreme, man.
Facts, bro. Shout out that nigga Breezy.
Please, we played a show with him. He mad cool, but people were like trying to like pit us against each other online. Like, no, like to the same idea of like a movement. And I briefly mentioned them earlier, but like y'all, your listeners, listen to Black Alley. Give them a chance. Yeah, they're one of my favorite bands in the area, but in general.
For sure. We've got definitely a bunch of great artists to check out. We'll have a list of those as well. So hopefully people actually check them out. This is great. I've gotten so many DMs from people saying, hey, I've discovered so many amazing new acts from you and from your podcast. So I always love having my guests share that love, because I'm sure it would be a great feeling for you to have someone else shout you guys out. So let's continue growing our scene, whether it's locally, internationally, whoever you're listening to right now that's working really hard to continue growing and shedding a spotlight on those people. So thank you so much for those shout outs. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Honestly, it's been such a blast talking to you guys. And I really cannot wait to hear what you have in store for 2024, from this festival to this tour, from this 2025 tour that's, possibly in the works, to, hearing the EP and everything. I'm really, really excited to see what direction Hugh goes in. So thank you so much again for coming on the show.
Thank you, bro.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Our Space with Matt Batiste. If you enjoyed yourself, please support the show by subscribing and leaving a review.